Right, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sexual chemistry. And I don't mean just, how compatible you are with someone in bed. I mean the actual science, the biological processes, the chemistry that's going on in your brain during the act of sex, the arousal and the orgasm, and how they play a part in this whole crazy thing that we all like to do. So, the first thing to note is that where all these hormones are released, where all this activity is going on, it's in the back part of your brain, which is the most primitive part of your brain that controls your basic functions or whatever. So that's where your oxytocin and your prolactin and all those other endorphins and hormones are released, in the back part of your brain. Meanwhile, the part of your brain that makes decisions, problem solving, and it's more complicated stuff. The decision-making part of your brain is in your prefrontal cortex. So it's two completely different parts of your brain. So kind of makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about, oh my gosh, why was I even dealing with this guy? Like, my common sense should have taught me not to even go there with him. Well, that's not where your little hormones are released. Your hormones are released in the back part of your brain. So, okay, let's talk about the hormones. The first one, let's talk about, well, there's two main ones that are released, prolactin and oxytocin. So we'll start with prolactin. The prolactin in women is usually actually associated with women because, we release it monthly in varying phases during our ovulation and menstruation cycle or whatever. But, especially when we're nursing, actually, it's helps us create milk supply for our children. So that's largely where it's considered, where it's usually thought about. But we also release it during sex. Now, the interesting difference between men and women and their prolactin during sex, prolactin is associated with sexual satisfaction, or satiation. Satiation is a better word for it, meaning like you're good, like you can go on to other things now, your sex drive is fulfilled. So in men, immediately after their orgasm, their prolactin is like at a 10. So they're good. So this is why, right after sex, he wants a sandwich, he wants to, go to sleep or do something else. He's not thinking about sex because his sex level is on 10. He's good. Now, in women, on the other hand, it rises much more slowly. It could take days or weeks for our sexual fulfillment to reach a 10. So maybe that's why, when we first start, this might contribute to, some women, when they first start getting with the guy, they have to, they feel this need to keep going and going because their sex level isn't on a 10. They're still thinking about the 10. So they got to keep trying to go to reach the 10. Then after a couple days or weeks, when all the prolactin peaks and their sexual satiation is good, and they can move on to other stuff. All right, so that's prolactin. The second hormone is oxytocin. Now, that's the big one associated with sex. That is the love molecule, they call it, or whatever. That's the one that's mostly associated with bonding. It helps form pair bonding in humans. And it's also the hormone that helps women bond with their children. Women with lower oxytocin levels after they have babies or with newborns or whatever are shown to have less secure attachments with their newborns than women with higher oxytocin levels. So, that's why you get all the pillow talk after sex, because after sex you get really, really high oxytocin levels and you just want to cuddle and lay down and tell each other lies while you're looking into each other's eyes and whatnot. It's a love molecule. There was something else I wanted to say about it. I had to write it down. Yes, oxytocin increases several things to help with this pair bonding. It increases trust, and it increases positive memory formation. So if you're having a lot of sex with somebody and your oxytocin levels on a 10 or whatever, you're feeling real good, you're happy, that may contribute to you trusting this person more than maybe you should. Might contribute to you looking through everything with rose-colored glasses, seeing, mostly the positive things instead of reality. So if you're ever wondering, why am I sprung out on this person? We're just having a lot of good sex and it's not necessarily the good person for me. It's because you've got hormones in your body telling you to keep having sex with them if you're a woman. Until you can reach your sexual satiation. And then you've got the hormones telling you to trust this person and to only remember the positive things about them. And, I don't know, it's just a thought, just a look about how the hormones released during sex have an effect on how we relate with each other and how those hormones operate in a completely different part of our brains than the rationalization. So that's how you can end up having really good sex with someone you know you shouldn't be with. Anyway, peace.